On behalf of NIC-ETH Productions and the Caribbean Association of Midwest America, I'd like to welcome everyone here this morning. We are in for a treat.
This is something that I've always wanted to do. Bringing my sisters and my brothers together.
What is your identity as a Black woman?
I'm Cecile Johnson, and my identity is I'm an African. I'm an African in America. That's where I'm originally from Jamaica, however, that's just a geographic state. So when you see me, what do you see? You see an African.
My name is Diane Barrios, and I identify myself as Afro-Rican. Born in Chicago, parents are from Puerto Rico. Father unknown. That's not us.
So I'm Imani Beard, and I identify myself as an Afro-Cuban or Afro-Latino. I know that my mother, she came here from Cuba, so I don't want to dismiss that when I reference being an African woman. But so I definitely, call myself Afro-Cuban, Afro-woman like that.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Wigan, and actually my first identity, I am a workmanship of Christ. So you're looking at me, you're looking at Christ. And then I'm gonna say I am Jamaican, but I'm very mixed with German and Black and everything else, but for me, I'm a Black woman.
Hi everybody, my name is Maritza Baitel. I'm also Afro-Cuban. Don't be fooled by my skin color. My great-great-grandfather is from the Yoruba tribe, and I carry that very proudly. But also, I have part of the Cuban and European. Mostly my identity is a woman helping other women in this United States.
Bonjour, good morning. My name is Nicole Claude. I immigrated from Haiti. I identify myself as a Haitian American in the promotion of well-being for all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Debbie Shell. I identify myself as African, Jamaican, Belizean, American. So I am a melting pot of the Caribbean, I am a melting pot of the United States, and I am proud to be a Black woman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My father is Grenadian, my grandmother is Puerto Rican, my great-grandmother is Venezuelan, my mother is Trinidadian. I'm a proud Afro-Caribbean woman. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah Alcala. Just like Cabell, I'm also Trinidadian. I'm referred to in my country as a Dougla, which is a mixture of everything Caribbean. My grandparents are from Barbados, Venezuela, Cuba, as well as America. My mother is a natural American. However, we all consider ourselves to be Caribbean queens, and I am trying to transcend the world market. So I see myself as a world citizen, Black woman.
And I will just end with the aspect of Kujichagulia, which is a Kiswahili word that means self-determination. One of the aspects that we've had to deal with in this country is as Black people, as African people, which I am. My father's people are from the Cameroons. My mother's people are from the Burkina Faso, as well as Sierra Leone, the Timber people and the Minister people and the Fuda people. So we're very mixed Africans. I was born here in Chicago, and what we do know is that when they look at us, when our cultural cousins look at us, they don't see our diversity as an asset. It is looked at as a deficiency. Moreover, they see us as a woman. I like like to ask a few of the elder sisters, and I'm not going to point out who's older than who, so you just speak up as you feel. But I'm going to ask some of the elder sisters, as you were growing up, what were some of the barriers for women? Not just because of your identity as an African or Caribbean or what have you, but what was some of your barriers as a woman to grow up in your family as a woman? So I want to ask the elder sisters to answer that first, because I'm going to get to the younger sisters in a minute. So I don't want to point out one of the elders, but what about?
I'm up there, I don't mind saying it. 57 years young.
All right.
As I was growing up, one of the barriers within my family was that we didn't need education. As long as we knew how to cook, we knew how to wash, iron, we could keep a man happy. We didn't need to be educated. And that was always a pet peeve of mine. I struggled, I fought against that, and I'm proud to say I was the first woman in my family, including my grandparents, that actually went to college. And I think I got my activism spirit in the 70s. Not only with the wonderful black movement and the Black Panthers, but also with the immigrants from the Caribbean, Cuba, Haiti, where they were coming here. And that's when I started fighting for women's rights. And my voice will be denied. And today my voice cannot be denied.
All right. Now, the elder sister, to speak as a woman, what was challenging, I would say, back in the day?
Hi, this is Nicole. I think for me, coming from Haiti, and I think that's one of the platforms that I would like to create, immigrating from Haiti in the early 70s. One thing that was really missing for me growing up, I think the word woman actually is becoming foreign to me. I'm just, I have not used that word often. So it will be mostly regarding language. One of the things, we speak French and Creole in Haiti. And when we immigrate here, we do lose language. And one of the impact was, of course, my mom losing language. So she was not able to forward certain conversation. And many times I would be speaking to her. She's like, well, I thought they taught you that at the university. So there is a level of education that is missing at the home because we lose language, we lose part of our culture. And this year, 2014, I celebrate 40 years since I immigrated to the United States, and I finally find myself like, wow, this is truly what immigrant life looks like. We are fortunate that we are here, but however, part of us is missing. So it's about regrouping ourselves, and I am so thankful and privileged for this opportunity here at the Black Women Expo International Pavilion. So it's about, really a family connection can be missing.
Excellent. Yes, please do, Cecile. Cecile.
Yeah, for me, I think mine coming up is how women are sexualized, and your intelligence is downgraded, right? I used to prefer to hang out with the guys, right? Because I could have a stronger political. I've always been political. I was a out of my mother like this, and was always opinionated and was always strong. So sometimes my strength in belief in what I'm saying threatens a lot of men. So the issue of a woman's role comes up.
Yes.
And I think for me, like the education, I got a very good education, and there really wasn't an expectation for me. Right? It was like, okay, once you get this, then you can go and you'll fit in because your color or whatever, I don't know. But there should have been more value put to my use, my purpose in this earth.
I'll go ahead and take that in as well. My parents, what can I say, they were uneducated.
They did not have the education to educate us. We were raised old school, Puerto Ricans, cooking, cleaning, and that was it. Being a good wife, and that was all we were supposed to be. With my mother, who was from Puerto Rico, she was pulled out of school when she was in 3rd grade. My grandparents were very, very poor and could not afford the food on the table. So they led her along to a Spanish servant who would beat her. She was an indentured servant. And that was how they would make their money, was, for her cleaning effort. And that's what she brought to the States. I have scars and wounds from the beatings that I would get as well from not cleaning up properly, not cooking, all those things. So those were the things that I was raised on. And it was very hard for me, physical statutes, to get beat all the time for not doing it properly. And I would say that on my father's end, it was the macho man, did his thing. He was a CTA bus driver, would go to work, come home, and he'd have 3 other ladies on the side. So my mother was just subdued, very quiet, and just reserved. And that was how she wanted to raise us like. And that was not my intention in life. I did not want to be like that. So, it's basically trying to find my own identity as a human being in this world.
Right, and we're going to be dealing with this. I actually would like for Leah and Imani, but Leah, I want, as I'm not just saying you're younger, but you are younger, not than me. I'm younger than everybody here. That's okay. No, I don't have no problem. I'm 44. I'm 45. I'm 45 this year, so I'm proud of that. But I want you all to tell me, as you listen to some of the sisters' experience that we would say were a little elder, can you contrast what it is like for you as a woman now? Young people's talk. I want to hear, what are the young people or the young women saying is a challenge for them and their families?
Funny that you would ask me that question. I've heard my grandparents speak and my mom speak because I consider her to be from the old school, something that we see at home. I was able to take their experiences and transform my life and the way that I think. I cannot say that I'm practicing the do as I do model, but I'm making my own path. Because we have so much access now to information via the internet, via websites and other forms of just fellowshipping, I can say I'm able to take out the good and apply that to my life. Now, a lot of women, they are being sexualized, they are being portrayed in this, it's all about your image mentality. We have become such material people that we all face these challenges globally. So we need to form networks. We need to, as the leader said, drop that flag and find people that we can share our dreams with, people that are of our equal and people that we can help to come out of that mentality. Because even I'm in my 30s now, and probably when I was about 19, 20, I was in an abusive relationship, which I found I was too educated to be in that situation, but I was still in that situation because of the fact that I was living in a material world and I didn't even realize it. Because I had formed, in my country, we have divisions based on the shades of black that we have. So even though I'm black, my friends, we laugh about it now and we say, okay, you're not black, you're white, but it's a joke. And sometimes when I was younger, that used to affect me to the point where, okay, I can't tell anybody that I'm in an abusive relationship, especially not my parents, because I would be suffering the same fate as my mom did.
Okay.
So I'm thinking now in my 30s, I'm trying to make that difference. I'm empowering my own kids. I've spoken to them about the abusive relationship that I had with their father, not in a way to make him seem bad, but in a way for them to know, listen, I'm your mother, I love you all, I'm keeping my life open so you all will not have to live through that. And I'm not too proud, and that's a problem that we face as black women. Once we're at a certain level, we think that we are too proud to speak about bad things in our life. And that's something we need to dispel immediately.
All right, thank you. I'm just, don't worry, I will be busting everybody out, so be prepared. But Imani, I want you to, the same kind of concept, but talk to us like what the young people, our young women are seeing. What are we missing in our families?
Well, when I was younger, I was addressed, or I had to confront racialized relationships in my family because they're like all Latin Americans and a lot of Caribbeans, we have so many different shades, as she said. But what it was is that I was too black. So everybody in my family was like, oh, she's the black one, she's gonna get pregnant, she's never gonna go to school. I was pretty much ostracized in my family. So addressing that situation sort of led me to my current research interests, like the marginalization of Black Latinos within Latino communities, along with so it all initiated in my family, my actual experience with, I think she was talking about it, but just being treated so crappy by people who I was raised, just because I was Black. So that's something that my family, we're working on that now because of my research, and I'm always bringing it up, and but when I was younger, I used to be like, when I was 14 years old, I remember at Thanksgiving dinner, I was like, Mom, you're Black, not really understanding that, she was a refugee, and she was brought here, and I was like, Mom, you're Black, we're Black, Mom. She's like, no, we're not, we're Cuban, so it was just like it was a real struggle there, and I was just like, I'm a Black girl, and, I'm a Black girl in America, and this is who I identify with, and hip hop really brought me to that too.
Right,
so
right.
It was a struggle, and that's where my identity crisis was at. So to speak to like the barriers, it really was about race in my family. The lighter one, which is my cousin who's half Mexican and half Cuban. Oh, she's gonna be great. She's good. She's this. She's that. And because of me, and they used to say it in front of me. If I'm dancing too sexual, or just popping it too hard or something. Oh, wow. Right. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, she's never, it was ridiculous. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
We asked what the young people want, right? So we get it.
So basically being ostracized due to my Blackness in my family. So that's the barrier that I kind of had in my family.
Okay, and I hope you all noticed the reason I opened up with that is because the one thing that as we identified, the first thing is I had to let you identify yourself, because that is your human rights. If you don't identify yourself, then, but your identity isn't just yours alone, because you identify yourself through your family. So that is what I had tried to do with them not knowing it, that I wanted to hear how you saw family, because I have to admit, how we see family when we're older versus how we see family when we're younger does change. But it has also to do with where we come from. So I heard where Puerto Rico was talking about certain aspects, and you were saying immigrants, and then I also heard Trinidadian, and it was like we got this strongness, and then I also heard duties, and you had to wash, clean, do, right? So you can tell although they're from different places, as women, they're still having to go through the same things. And interesting that you notice the difference of what the older women said versus what the young women said, and we're all still trying to be women. In the end, we're being women. So first we dealt with our family, ourselves, our family. So now let's move to the community. This is where I know it's going to get deep. But in the community, as you are moving through, I want to pick two parts of the community. One part of the community is going to be education, and the other part is going to be health. And we could be here forever on both of them. But I really want you all to speak to your community and to its education. Do you feel that women in your community, for whatever that community is, because it's a diverse communities up here, right? Are they receiving the educated needed for the future? And anyone can jump into that hasn't spoke already. In your community, are the women receiving the education that is needed for the future?
When I listened to the first question, and you probably wondered, coming from Jamaica, I'll be honest, we have some strong women in Jamaica. Maybe I came up in the era of the post-slave. But all women are strong. We speak out. We are taught to be strong. We are taught to be on top and forefront. And education is an A+ in Jamaica. And we had to make it to the top through education. So for me, I'm going to go from the health part, since I'm a physical therapist. Coming from Jamaica, we have the only physical therapy school in the Caribbean. So to get there, you had to be good. And we took in 20 students per year in our program from all over the Caribbean. So you had to be good. And we were taught real strong ethics. And we were taught well. And I'm very proud of that. Because coming here to America, and I have to go there, is as I look at a lot of the therapists that comes here, a lot of them have to go through so many additional training. We didn't. They'll come to me and ask, what do you speak? We speak English. We speak English, you know. We do have our patois, but we are taught in English, we're examined in English. And when we came here, and I came here, I didn't have to fluster as to, do I need to do more? Do I need to take more exams? I went right in and I took my exam because I was fully qualified. Right. Many of us may never be blessed, but I'm going to tell you, they underestimate the Caribbean women and the Caribbean education. And I'm looking at, from my physical therapist standpoint, when I come here, no, I was in shock when I came here. Every time I go to a conference, I look around because I'm looking for some more black PTs. I can't find them. I can't find any culture PTs. I'm finding PT assistants and PT aides. So guess what happened? When I go in and I'm working and people come into my clinic, they think I'm the front desk girl. Only to figure out that, you're going to need to come to me. Because I'm already trained, I'm fully trained. Now, can we do more? Definitely. Do we need more schools in the Caribbean? Definitely. Do we need more opportunities? Definitely. But right now, we are leading and we are doing very well. I want more black women to step up in the area of health. That's right. I need you. We need to be there to identify when our black women come in. We need to be there, not at the front desk, but behind and leading. So I'm telling you right now, I'm very proud of where we are, but there's much more to go. Those of you who are going up for your doctorate in physical therapy, do so. I'm old, I'm backing out. But I just need you guys to step on up.
All right,
yes.
Thank you. Okay, would you like to speak a little bit on that, please?
Hi, this is Debbie. I was actually born in the U.S. My mother is from Jamaica, my father is from Belize. And I think that gave me a very unique perspective when I was growing up, especially in terms of education. My father is highly educated. He's an engineer. My mother, from Jamaica, graduated from high school, and that's where her education stopped. But having the values from her
Vibrate,
home,
please, vibrate.
having the values from her home and from her upbringing, she understood the value of education. And so in our family, it really wasn't a choice for my brother and I as to whether education was going to be a priority. As I grew up, I took on her passion for that, and I had a love of education. I went to law school, and I noticed, just like my colleague was saying, I noticed that there's a diversity, there's not enough diversity of females who are black. And as we look at the younger generation, that's very important, because if young girls can't see that there's an opportunity, if they can't see that this is a possibility, it dampens their spirit. It doesn't make them feel like that they can achieve. So I think that the opportunities are there, but we need to be more visible. We need to be able to once we've established ourselves, you go back home to your home country and you talk to students. You talk to the females and you let them know there's so much more that you can do. There's so much that you can do. Your options are unlimited. And they have to see that, and they have to be able to talk to someone who can guide them in that.
Thank you, thank you. And Cavell, can you just really comment a little bit about the same aspects of community and education?
I would like to say that one of the key things my mother taught me as a child is that you need to be a student of life. And she said you need to look at all the situations, all the races, all their experiences, and coin your own identity. And she was a very strong educator in my community. She was one of the leading educators in my community, and she still is. She's a retiree, and she still mentors poor children who have no other form of reprieve, save someone who wants to donate time to them. And before she got to that point, my parents were very poor. And when we were getting to the end of secondary school, which would have been high school level, she said to me, she cried and she said, listen, I feel as though I failed you because I can't afford to send you to university. And she said, the only way you can go is if you win a scholarship. And I said, no problem. And from that, I studied really hard, really hard. And while some were playing, I was studying. While some were making babies because they didn't have the encouragement that I had, I was studying. I didn't know much about who was the latest singer, dancer. I didn't know how to do certain things because I was just studying. Because I had a race against time to qualify for this scholarship. And thank God, I came first in my country that year. And when the government offered me my options to study, I said, I'm going to Cuba to study. Yeah. So I went to Cuba and I studied. And I did really well there, and I was able from that platform to launch my career in travel. Now the funny thing is, when you're black, as I tell Leah, because we're very good friends, but we don't look compatible, we look strange. And I tell her, I said, Lee, you could never understand what a black woman is like. And she was like, how could you say I'm not black? I said, because you don't face my reality. Because the color of my skin determines so much. I mean, when I wanted to open a tour company and do travel, people laughed and snickered. Because black people don't own travel companies. If you look at the cross-section of travel agents or tour companies in my country, I probably make up 1%, me. And that's the reality I face. So when I go to the bank and say I'm going to open a business account, it took me 3 years to do it. They run me around and I said, if I were to check how many no's I got, I would have been a multi-millionaire by now.
Okay. Are we moving forward or standing still or moving backwards economically? Who would like to take that one?
Dr. Claude Anderson says that there are 5 steps. The first one is economics, because when you got economics, then you can buy and sell or rent a politician. So the second step is politics. The third step is legal. When you look today at what's happening in our community with disproportionate incarceration of our young people, and how poor people have to spend so much money fighting the system, you understand that that's the third step. The next step is the media. And when you look at our issue today, which is the issue of identity, the media controls that, right? So if we had economics, we control the politicians, we control the legal, we control the media. And then the fifth step is education. And so in our communities, we have been taught a lie. So he showed from 1860 to 1960 how we had increased from 99% literacy to 14% literacy. And yet when it came to our economics, we still own 0.5%, like half of 1% of the economy. So economics is very important. the education that we're getting today is being dumbed down, okay? And the young people are, I was talking to a 30-year-old young lady recently, and she was telling me, I thought that the programs that they had cut out of the schools was, maybe 10, 20 years, and she was telling me that she's 30, so that means it's the last 10 years. They've cut out things that young people could even come out of school. I'm not pushing cosmetology, but you could come out and have a job. Auto mechanics, they could come out and, and they were getting their diploma before they left school, so when they came out, they were able to launch into their own little entrepreneurship.
Right.
So today, the education system, because of the change in the economy, they see us as a threat. So therefore, they're dumbing down our kids. So education is very important because education really is about economics. But in the black community, education is about title and how, all this foolishness and who we're going to work for. Well, guess what? We do it for ourselves.
Yes.
We spend $1.1 trillion, and if we were using that money to pay us, we would all be employed. In our community, the money leaves every 8 hours, right? In other communities, it circulates 16 times or more. So education is important, economics is important, and our community has been totally disenfranchised with all of this foolishness the last 50 years.
Thank you. Thank you. Tell us, we know that the economy is where it's at, but how is that for black women? Because, we not like whether the economy is good or bad, we still bad, but we still make it work. Tell me about where black women are in the economy today. So.
I want to speak a little bit going back. I come from Humboldt Park. 40 years ago, Humboldt Park was predominantly Puerto Rican neighborhood. In the last 20 years, there's been a melting pot. African Americans, Caribbeans, Mexicans, South American. The Puerto Rican Cultural Center opened its door 40 years ago because we saw a need to educate our own people. I mean people of color. And the Pedro Albizu Campos High School opened up 40 years ago. We were the first alternative high school that when we started having trouble because of no after-school programs, because of cuts in education, because of gangs, because of the displacement of our neighborhoods, of being pushed out, lots of young people were joining gangs, and lots of young ladies were getting pregnant. What was the answer of the high schools back in the early 70s? Kick them out of high school because they're pregnant. We opened Pedro Albizu Campus where we were the first school that allowed young pregnant girls to still come in and get their high school education. When the girls started having the babies, we needed to solve that problem. The community came together as a whole. And we opened in the high school a daycare so that the young mothers could come in, finish their high school, be involved with the child rearing and feeding, parenting, learning, and still have a high school diploma. 25 years ago, when the epidemic and the devastation that was HIV and AIDS in our neighborhoods, when people were literally dropping like flies, when in our Caribbean culture we started having closed caskets, when a mother could not kiss a dead son's forehead. That was devastating for our community. But yet we had a president that stayed quiet for 3 years. I guess if you ignore it, it might go away. Well, it didn't. The Puerto Rican cultural people got together with our brothers and sisters from Austin, from West Humboldt Park, and we decided to open our own health clinic to educate, to get rid of the stigma that is HIV and AIDS. When people are not educated, when people are ignorant, they are afraid. And when there's fear, there's all type of phobias. Whether it be phobia, whether it be racism, sexism, we must educate our people. Not only education, let's also push for advantages. Right now, as the sister was saying, you can leave high school and doors are not opening like before. There is not job, there's no jobs, there's no exactly in our neighborhoods, in our communities. And I understand that with money, you can buy almost everything. Politicians, you can have them in your pocket. So we need to start investing in our own people. We need to start extending out and voting for our own people. Because our own Caribbeans, our own African descendants, the black race will stand up. We'll stand up, we'll be strong. But we must help each other instead of tearing each other down. We must vote for each other. We must encourage each other. And if we need help, let's hire one another.
Okay.
Let's hire one another.
So real quickly, if you could just in like 1 minute sum up, tell us about the entrepreneur spirit. Tell us what that's like for black women.
We need to get out of the crab in the barrel mentality. Yes! We need an anti-crab in the barrel mentality. We pull each other down. We need to start pushing each other up.
That's
and
right.
just like my sister said across here, our dollars, in the Jewish community, the dollar stays in there at least 18 times that dollar is spent. Our community, once and it's gone. We are supporting the white people. We are supporting the other race.
Cultural race.
Other cultural races. But we are not supporting ourselves. One. Number two, there's a thing, I was looking at venture capital. Now, I come to the, and I said, can I get $5,000? You guys are going to look at me like, you crazy. But I'm going to tell you what then. Okay, I can't get 5,000. Can I get 10 people to give me 500? Or can I get 100 people to give me $50? Are you seeing? What I'm saying is we can come together by putting together what we have to move forward. We have more beauty shops and barber centers in this area, but we don't have a big one.
How we gonna work with our men? Are you working with your men?
I've been married for 22 years. And like any other relationship, it's up and down. We have good days, we have bad days. But at the core, we both recognize that we have to support each other, lean on each other, be each other's soft place to land when the world is tough. I have 2 boys at home, 2 little boys. So I'm outnumbered in the house, which I complain about sometimes, but that's the way it is. People in the Belizean community sometimes say that they see me everywhere because I try to go to as many events, parties, groups, meetings, as much as possible because I'm invested in the community and it's my passion to give back as much as possible. One thing that I can say is that without the type of husband that I have, I would not be able to do that. Because I can't be here this morning worried about my 2 boys not being taken care of at home right now. And that's what he's doing.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I know you tried to jump in there. I saw that. Keep it short, like 2 minutes, but tell me, where is black women and black men together? Where are we? Are we on the same page? Are we on different pages? Are we working it out, or is it getting worse?
In my community, I think that it's getting better. Amongst my peers and my circles, we try to have our own sense of community where we do not emasculate our men. We do not use our positions as a ground for leverage to say, I'm better than you. We tell them that we need them. We tell them that we love them. As much as we're feminine and we're moving forward, we're women of the world, we are still women. And we must maintain some form of tradition. I know for one, I need my man. I tell him that. And in telling him that, we build a stronger relationship because guess what? I have all my own things, but I still need him at the end of the day. And I try to help my friends by advising them to do the same. I'm not going to promote this woman power thing too much. I want you to be powerful, but I want our women to be balanced. Because at the end of the day, you're going to end up with problems.
All right, wonderful. Machismo has your man about that too. But I know you can speak on this a little bit, so I'm gonna let you go with the 2 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna say that I stay far, far, far away from my Puerto Rican men because of the machismo. Now, I do a little something different. I started like hooking with little white boys, I ain't gonna lie. I was married for about 10 years with my ex-husband, Sean Buckner. We had a really good relationship, and I would have to say that because of what we had going on, and the power, the strength of our relationship and marriage was the reason why I was able to find my identity. He was the one who brought me back home to Puerto Rico. He was the one who supported me when I froze my culo in the middle of the Chicago blizzard trying to celebrate Carnival. And God knows that he was also there with me when I walked across the stage, when I jumped up at Carnival in Trinidad. He was there with me. He was a very strong man. You know, life happens the way it does. But I think that in this case here, I can only say that a man for me would have to be someone who has to be just as strong as I am and can understand my fire, because that is the thing. I do have a fire. And he also needs to know how to extinguish. And I think that's the thing that I have had a problem with. So, I mean, right now I stay single, and I'm a true artist. I love to my art. I love the men. I love all flavors. So for me, I think that, like I said, for me, it's just finding that critical match that will be for me, that will be just as strong as I am.
But I also want to ask some of the younger sisters, Imani, what are young women talking about in relationship to the young men or men, period? I know. 2 minutes. Wait a minute, how we doing on time? Okay, we got 10 minutes, ladies, so we gotta get it in.
I'll be a minute. I think what we want is, or what I'd like to see men that are just as ambitious as you would be. Again, sort of like what she said, just as strong as you are. And I love that distinguishing fire thing, because I got that fire too, so I think a balance. So I think that's really, really important. So I mean, that's personally what I'd be looking for. Educated, knowledgeable, can teach me some things, I can teach him some things. High learners, open. I'm not seeing a lot of that in the African American male community. But I'm hoping, since I have 2 young men, that I could probably open up those doors to teach them that education is great, but also respecting a woman and understanding our place as women. Letting us define who we are as women as well, because sometimes that does make a difference. If a man doesn't really know what kind of woman you are, I mean, hopefully they'll take the time to try to figure it out. So patience, education, ambition, that's basically what I need.
So you have to get that insight. Is there anyone in the audience who has a question for the panel members or a topic that they would like the panel members to discuss very quickly? Very quickly. Anybody in the audience?
I have one question.
Okay.
I'm a father who basically stick with my boy, right? I have a son and a daughter. Grew up in a community where they're white, there's not really much ethnic diversity. It's typically a white community. The struggle I have with young women is that, like my son, an educated kid, been through high school, was an outstanding student, but during high school period, he could never find a date. No, I mean an African American girl to talk, right? They always shun him as a nerd, basically. Now he gets to a point where he's an educated man. You get me, an older teenager, more 20s, I remember teenagers. He's in his 20s, have more or less, finished his master's, going on to his PhD. No, he's established with a Caucasian woman. No, the sisters decided that, man, no, he's worth looking at. You get what I mean?
Right. So the question is?
My question is that, why is it that the young sisters would not acknowledge a brother like that earlier? You get what I mean? Because he's not rough enough, and dress a certain way. But no, when you reach a point where he's established, and when he's ready now, it's here's a good brother. You get what I mean? Now he's gone. Yeah, so my question is, why is it that our sisters, in their younger period of years, don't reach out to the younger brothers? You get what I mean?
I feel so that,
But that question is not just for the young sisters, because as a parent, you move your child to a white community, right? So
Yes,
therefore, I did the same thing, because I moved from New York to Southwest Florida, and it was a predominantly white community. However, I kept my house very cultural. So the question that you're asking is not just, the young sisters. The young sisters are a product of what we helped to raise, right? And so in a time where we've been ambiguous about our civil rights and our integration and all of that, right? Now we're seeing that it hasn't worked so well. So in the case of your son, that's what has appeared to him, right? Because he didn't get no fly from the girls, so now he found what.
Right.
Okay. We have to address this issue, because that ties into the lady on the other side who mentioned, we're here in the Caribbean, and how do we find mates, right? We're going to have to address that this is a serious issue, and that in some communities, what do? They try to hook people up, right? So we're going to have to do the same, because
you saying arrange?
Well, it has to be more than a
Some of us know about that culture too.
Well, because there's definitely a need, right? Because in our community we have more women who are more highly educated than some of the brothers. But that doesn't make a brother less because he doesn't have education. Actually, like
It's not formal education.
Right. And I could go into a whole thing on education and what that is. So I think that we need to address that by addressing the fact that do we want our children to be marrying and being with people like ourselves, right? And what is the cultural value of that? Because once you marry into other people's cultures, you sometimes, right, you lose your culture.
Okay, but thank you. That's a great way of putting it. Any one person want to take on that? Yes.
I think that coming from a culturally diverse society and country in Trinidad where we have all races, I've been a bit of a devil's advocate here, but it's all about marketability and any way in life. So if people are not attracted to your son, then that's God's work. That's not anybody's work. Somebody has to be attracted to somebody naturally, not because of status, because of color, because of race. Because I am an example of that. My father is Indian, my mother is black. Then my friends are like that. And if that didn't happen, none of us would be here, because I'm not seeing anybody here that doesn't have some sort of ancestral trait from another culture, another country. So if he's up with a white girl, with a black girl, with a Chinese girl, with anything, and that's making him happy, he has to hold on to his identity. Nobody can give him his identity or share it with him unless they want it.
My name is Melida Harris. I'm from Panama, for those of you that came in later. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Diane Lopez is who put this together. Please stand. Oh, she's already standing. I would like for y'all to stand up and give her a good round of applause. Mama D. I couldn't have done this without her.